pollution had become a global issue and most of the countries in Southeast Asia been experiencing this pollution in a higher level. In Southeast Asia, the people been more exposed to the harmful effects and this will give an effect towards the respiratory problems and other disease. In 2018, World Health Organization had stated that 9 out of 10 people globally breathe air that didn't meet requirement for WHO air quality guidelines. The air pollution in Southeast Asia been increased year by year and give an effect towards the quality of life among the people. This pollution will create more negative implications for the society and this situation must have been solved as soon as possible.
Rivers have been a major part of human life for millennia, especially for those living in the habitats that have sprouted up alongside them. Rapid economic development and urbanization results in degradation and depletion of water and the ecosystem. Hazardous non-recyclable objects such as plastic bottles and rubber slippers are commonly found floating on rivers. Toxic industrial waste from factories is also dumped into rivers daily. The most polluted rivers in Southeast Asia are Marila River in the Philippines and Citarum River in Indonesia. The policy brief suggests that policymakers adopt effective approaches, such as creating better sewage systems and mechanisms which can fasten the water cleaning process.
Air pollution can be caused by the air pollutants. Air pollutants is a material in the air that can have a negative impact on humans and the ecosystem. It can be any type of form such as strong particles, liquid droplets or gases, and air pollutants may be man-made or natural in nature. There are many factors why the air pollution happen across the Southeast Asia countries.
An Indonesian province declared a state of emergency as officials said they had pinpointed hundreds of spots at risk of erupting into smog-belching forest fires that plague the region every year.
Firstly, the factors of air pollution in Southeast Asia are because of the infamous forest fires in Indonesia. The forest fires that happen can safely be categorized as man-made one because it happened by one of the farming methods that called slash and burn agriculture. To create a vast field in a forest, a farming technique that requires slashing and burning plants in a forest is made mostly by farmers. The process starts by clearing forests by cutting the trees in their respective areas. The trees are then burned and likely to result in a nutrient-rich layer of ash that makes the soil nutritious and eliminate weed and pest species temporarily. This method can be used in shitting agriculture, a system where the farmers is moving regularly from one cropland to another while waiting for another 3 to 5 years after practicing the slash and burn method on the said area. After the cycle is finished, they then planted rubber tree for pulp, timber for apple and palm oil. The issue increased rapidly in recent years because more land for the profitable palm oil market has been developed for increasing plantation because Indonesia is also one of the biggest exporters of palm oil. This is quite a severe issue because the forest fire is hard to extinguish and it is also emits a large amount of smoke and only heavy rain is needed to put it off rather a firefighter. Next factors that cause the air pollution is the vehicles emission. Across all nations in Southeast Asia, there is an approximately population of over 670 million people. Therefore, when there are more people, which means there will be more vehicles owned by each one of the households. Take Malaysia for an example. It was said that the pollutant from burning fossil fuels produced by vehicles in Malaysia are one of Malaysia's major sources of air pollution. In 2011, there were more than 21 million registered vehicles on Malaysia roads and that number is very probably higher now. And all of those cars are creating hazardous gases that are harmful to our health. Car, yes, to make it easier for our life to move, but they have an impact on us. That is why mostly urban areas, not only in Malaysia, but also other big cities like Jakarta and Bangkok are so polluted with carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide is colorless, harmful gas formed by the incomplete combustion process of carbon, containing fuels such as coal, natural gas, and petroleum, with vehicles emission being the largest source of carbon monoxide. When it becomes worse and not being overcome due to its high carbon dioxide content on a combustible engine, vehicles emission also lead greatly to global warming and will bring a lot more harm to living things. The industrial emission also a major source of air pollution because pollutants, including chemical reagents, particles in the air contaminants, sulfur dioxide, and nitrogen dioxide are released through the operation of factories. Due to the wide variety of industrial sector throughout the Southeast Asian countries, this emission from industries that use coal and wood as their primary energy source for production of their goods and deemed to be seen as normal, but it will give effect to living things in a long term. Factories manufacture valuable items, but they also produce waste. Unfortunately, factory owners do not often properly dispose of waste. Hazardous substances and other dangerous substances are also released into the air, water, and soil by them. Factories contaminate the air by blowing chemical vapors and fumes out from vents and chimneys, and through burning waste in open dumps or incinerators. Generator exhausts also fill the air with toxic gases and adding fuel to this issue. Many small and mid-sized businesses do not install equipment for pollution control. This will raise the emission of contaminants in industrial areas in particular, which in some situations also contribute specific pollution to the air. Lastly, a contributing factor of a natural air pollution is volcanic eruptions. It releases massive quantities of sulfuric, chlorine, and ash product when an eruption happens, which are released into the atmosphere and can be picked up by winds to be spread over thousands of square miles. These gases pollute the air and make it difficult to breathe. Among the Southeast Asian countries, Indonesia can be said home of many volcanoes. The notorious Ring of Fire contains Indonesia, an island archipelago made up of more than 17,000 volcanic islands and has nearly 130 active volcanoes, more than any other country. Ring of Fire is an area where the pacifist plate strikes other adjacent plates, causing regular seismic and volcanic activity. Therefore, this explains the volcanoes eruption that's seen as often and also a quake in Indonesia. The eruption of volcano is one of the factors of air pollution. This is because if a volcano erupts, the atmosphere emits gases such as carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, ammonia, and fluorine, and so on.
First implication from the air pollution issue is transboundary haze. Transboundary haze has been a recurrent phenomenon in the Southeast Asian region to various degrees over the years. Haze resulting to limited of visibility and makes people find it is hard to breathe. These incidents have arisen due mainly to the land and forest fire caused by seasonal burning, which is slash and burn in Indonesia. Some of these incidents serious part of Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand, and ASEAN has been dealing with this issue almost 2 decades. The problem is not new, but it's constant. Fire in Sumatra have led to majority of Indonesia, Singapore, and Malaysia to drown in smoke for years. It can be said that neighboring countries such as Malaysia, Singapore, until Thailand and Brunei were very badly affected by the haze. During the Southeast Asia haze in 2015, where Riau, Jambi, South Sumatra, West Kalimantan, Central Kalimantan, and South Kalimantan were the 6 Indonesian provinces that declared a state of emergency pertaining to the haze. Take for example, the transboundary haze happens in 2019. More than 930,000 hectares of land in Indonesia have been burned. Hundreds of people were relocated and more than 9,000 firefighters have been dispatched to fight the fire. Nearby, Singapore and Malaysia have both choked during the week in thick haze, exceeding unhealthy levels of air quality. Not only the transboundary haze is the implication of air pollution, but it is also causing the sustainability relation among ASEAN members countries, if not others, and it is denting the image of ASEAN solidarity due to this issue. Next implication of air pollution is related to health because our health can be seriously impacted by air pollution. Aside respiratory illness, 1/3 of deaths from heart disease, stroke and lung cancer are due to air pollution. According to World Health Organization (WHO), every year air pollution kills an estimated 7 million people globally. WHO data suggests that 9 out of 10 individuals consume air that surpass the limit of the WHO guidelines containing high level of pollutant. Children are particularly vulnerable in Southeast Asia. It is because most Southeast Asian countries are now facing high level of air pollution, especially in urban areas where the annual levels have significantly exceeded the limits of the WHO. The size of microscopic air pollutant, also known as the particulate matter (PM). Some PMs are large enough and can be seen with the naked eyes, while there is PM 2.5 that literally 2.5 micrometer and smaller, also inhalable particle by living things, enough to say that this particulate matter even smaller than the single hair from your head. That is how the air pollution can destroy your body by inhaling this particle. The PM that vary in its size up from 10 until 2.5 micrometer can get deep into your lungs, and some may even get into your bloodstream, causing respiratory disease. As it worsens, air pollution can cause lung cancer, since small particles can easily enter and dive deeper into human respiratory system and can damage the lung. This attacks the bronchi and can cause the cancer of the lung. In addition, air pollution also causes global warming. Global warming largely caused by emission of so much carbon dioxide and other heat-trapping gases into the atmosphere. These heat-trapping gases disperse across the planet and linger for decades to centuries in the atmosphere. Therefore, as we continue to release these gases, their concentration in the atmosphere build up over time. By comparison, atmospheric aerosol particles are largely located near their origin and do not remain in the atmosphere for a long time, so that their atmospheric concentration do not build up markedly over time, even though we continue to emit them at current rates. According to NST News, Indonesia forest fires are rising, causing concerns of global warming. In that news, it states that Indonesia forest fires are an annual problem, but the unusually dry weather has worsened this year, sending toxic smoke floating over Malaysia in recent days and causing a diplomatic row.
One of the suggestions or recommendations to reduce the air pollution in the ASEAN is by making a transboundary cooperation among ASEANs. This is important when natural resource and environmental space are shared. By making transboundary cooperation will help to promote better understanding and exchange of knowledge and concern between neighboring countries and lead to collective response to shared problems such as transboundary haze pollutions. This allowing new opportunities and ways of overcoming these common threats. This cooperation on transboundary haze pollution control following several lands and forest fire in 1997 until 1998, which is ASEAN member states signed the ASEAN's Agreement Transboundary Haze Pollution on June 2002 in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. This agreement aims to prevent, monitor and mitigate land and forest fire to control transboundary haze pollution through concerted nation efforts, regional and international cooperations. The agreement contains measures on monitoring and assessment, prevention, preparedness, national and joint emergency response procedures for deployment of people, material, equipment across border and technical cooperation and scientific research. Other than that, strict enforcement of applicable fire or haze related to law and regulations, streamlining administrative capability and implementing more simplified process to increase the cost effectiveness of implementation. It will also be worth considering getting some sort of non-compliance penalty clause. There are laws regulating the prohibitions and restrictions of burning vegetations, in ASEAN member states, especially during certain restrictive conditions or periods. For example, the vigorous promotion, in conjunction with the provisions of incentive to promote non-burning and clearing alternatives, especially in the field of sustainable peatland management, and to raise awareness of the possible coal benefit that could be extracted from parties of mutual interest and collective gain. Finally, strict compliance and implementations combined with adequate penalties or penalty provisions are essential for rules and regulations to be effective and enforceable. Besides that, educating ASEAN and other customers on the causes and effect of the event chain or full life cycle study of entire agriculture or forestry production system linked to the issue of fire or haze and its subsequent implications, leading to more active awareness involved and actions of customers to follow more environmentally and socially sound. If there is any hope of combating the fire and haze problem in the Southeast Asia regions, building up such like-minded coalitions of willing is necessary. The adoption by the general public of eco-labeling standards to promote more sustainable use and production practice will go a long way in sending the right signal to agriculture and forestry land producers for the introduction of more environmentally friendly non-burning cultivations method. In conclusion, air pollution that been happening in Southeast Asia had affected ASEAN members countries such as Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, and others. This issue of air pollution is not a new problem anymore because it had been happening for many years ago. All of the countries in Southeast Asia must be cooperate with each other to find a better solution for this issue before it brings many negative impact to the society.